Train is officially in the map pool, and today we had the pleasure of witnessing the first ever professional match on it, and it took place in the Blast Bounty tournament, and it was major winner Spirit versus the brand new Fnatic roster. And I really enjoyed watching this game. I think there's a lot that we can learn, kind of discussing what they were doing and what seems to be meta early on. Now, I do know that this is only the first map that we've seen in professional play, but taking this as well as what I've seen in some scrims, as well as some other tier 2 and tier 3 matches, I think that this is actually pretty accurate as to what we're going to be seeing for the next couple of weeks on Train. And I want to talk about how people are taking map control and overall how pro teams are approaching this brand new map, and we'll get to that right after a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. Now, if you're not familiar with SkinsMonkey, this is a trade site that allows you to take some of the old and crusty skins out of your inventory, and you can actually trade them in for something a little bit new, a little bit shinier than what you have right now. And it's really easy to do this, actually. All you need to do is log in through Steam, pick the skins that you don't want to use anymore, grab the ones that you do, and then click trade. All trades will pretty much happen immediately, and any balance that you don't use in your trade actually stays on the site for you to use for any future trades that you decide to do. And right now, if you use the link in the description, you can actually get a 35% deposit bonus, and that's good for up to $100. So let's say you deposit $100, you would actually get $135 on the site if you use my link. So make sure you check out SkinsMonkey, and let's hop right back into the video. So let's start by talking about this initial fight that happens at the beginning of every round. The T's want to run out of team main and make their way towards back red, maybe try to take any map control that's presented early on. It seems like they're starting the round by throwing a sandwich smoke that'll give them a little bit of room to breathe, but in return, the CTs are throwing this T connector smoke every single round, and what's happening is off the back of that, they're going to pair it with some nice utility. We have a Molotov that lands Olaf, as well as a Miss Molly in this example, and then they flash off the wall and also nade in case anybody jumps out early, so that way they can peek and also cross into Pop Dog. Now, by doing this, they are able to take quite a bit of map control, and as you can see in this example, Chopper actually can sometimes use this smoke to clear out back red and Olaf, and because he has all of this control, he can now play behind this new box, or we can use the space that we've just taken to take deeper into T main. That way we can make it harder for the T's to actually execute the site. Of course, the solution for the T's, if they don't want to stay smoked off, is to actually just run through the smoke at the beginning of the round, which is exactly how BlameF and Fnatic decided to play their T side, which was to have him disrespect the smoke and run out to back red so that he could take a bunch of aggressive fights. Now, this is very similar to how csgo used to play, at least at the end of the meta, and it was just very hard for the CTs to deal with, and in my opinion, it's still equally as difficult for them to deal with because they don't have the extra train that they used to have before, as well as Bomb Train overall just feels kind of nerfed, and it feels like it's just somewhat of a death trap, at least in the current version of the map. So how do you deal with this as a CT if they're going to be disrespectfully running at you every round? You might think that the answer is just as simple as nade stacking it every round, but I'd like to remind you that it is very easy for the T's to just wait out the early nades and then continue to go fast anyway, and in fact we even saw this in today's game. So we want to save our nades as much as we can, use them very rarely so we can still get the most out of them, as well as being able to break the smokes. I think that'll be very valuable in this map especially. So then what would the next solution be? Well, I think it's to try to get into Pop Dog right away. Now, we did see this a couple of times today with using the same util that we've already shown. You can cross to Pop Dog and get here pretty comfortably before the T's even have a chance to deal with you. Now, the way that the T's have been handling this so far is they're throwing this very important utility set, which is the smoke to upper B as well as the Molotov for ramp. And the reason this is so important is because if you don't throw this, the B player can push up the ramp and deny the T's from making it to Pop Dog, so the CTs can be there the entire time. So that's why every single round this game, both teams were throwing this on their T side, that way that they could contest Pop Dog from inner. And the reason that Pop Dog is so important for both teams to have is because if you have it on CT side, you can defend the A site as well as rotate and help the B player defend upper B. And if you're a B player, you can also flank right away, so that way you can help them hold the A site as well as have a really strong position for retake. But if the T's have it, they can quickly bounce between site to site, and maybe they want to throw a fake on B and run out ladder. Or maybe they can just use the spot and hold it because they know the CTs will retake it, and they can just wait for re-aggression, and then they can go out A anyway. It's a very strong position on the map for both teams, and you will have a lot of high impact duels here. And that leaves us with what is probably the most interesting and dynamic spot on New Train, which is Ivy. Now, Ivy is a really unique spot on Train now because it used to be that you didn't really go there that often in the CSGO version, but now it's probably one of the most important parts on the map, and that's because if you don't put pressure there, the CTs are highly incentivized to flank you because the site is already so difficult to hold. If the Ts are not keeping an eye out, you could quickly have a CT flanking you pretty much every single round. They made it a lot easier for you to scale up and catch the Ts off guard. As you can see, Chopper using all of this cover to scale up over the course of the round. It can be very difficult to remember to hold on to this, especially when you feel like you just checked it. And the reason that the Ts would want to take control of Ivy is because they are able to wrap in towards B through CT, and they're also able to just go A either through Hell, or they can go through Camera now, and they just have so many good options by putting pressure here. Now, when the Ts go to put pressure on Ivy, most of the time they're going to be throwing this smoke on the wall here, and that's going to land on the right side of Ivy. They're also going to molly the left side, that way they can't get peeked while they're walking up, and then they can wrap into CT. The CTs still do have a few defensive options. There is a new cubby on the left side here next to the entrance of CT, as well as being able to see over from the yellow train. You have a couple of options, and I also briefly want to mention that we didn't see a ton of aggression from the B players this game on CT side, but I did want to include this crazy upper crunch that they did, where they had 2 people run in through Pop Dog and 2 people peek from upper at the same time. I thought that this was a really clever strat, and I like the way that this part of the map plays if you play it with pace. So with that, I think we've covered the majority of how teams are defaulting on Train right now, and normally I would go into talking about executes on this map, but Train is a very unique map where you don't really just do a set execute at the beginning of the round like Mirage or Ancient. In this map, you either rush or you play a very slow, methodical round where you're taking map control. So a lot of the emphasis will be on the T defaults and of course the fast rounds that they play. So with that being said, let's talk about why I think this map is going to be T-sided just ever so slightly. Many of the rounds that I saw in this game, it seems like the CTs are trying to take map control. So to do this, they're using 4 or 5 of their 5 smokes at the beginning of the round to take that map control that they need. The problem is that if they're using all of their smokes, once they have the map control, how can they keep it? That's the problem that they were running into. They were ending up in these advanced positions, but if the Ts just play the round slow, then they can just retake it with mollies and double peaks, and there's really nothing that you can do about it. A lot of the positions that you're getting on CT side are deceivingly bad. For example, playing in this Olaf box, you actually don't have anywhere to fall off. It seems obvious, but you kind of are trapped, and if your teammates aren't able to help you, this is the definition of a one and done. So you see in this round, and this is the round that I want to point to, this round is a 5v3 for the CTs. They've gotten both of the openings that they need. The problem is that the trades just come in. So your advanced positions, they're gone. Now it gets leveled into a 3-on-3, and it's worse than that because the bomb train and Z are death traps. They are not good positions for the CTs, so the Ts just roll them over and then end up winning the round anyway. So I ask you, what is the point of the CTs taking this early map control if the Ts can just wait forever or go fast or go in a pop and then just be at an advantageous situation regardless? Now, a few people are probably saying, but Austin, this was only one game out of the hundreds that we're probably going to see before the end of the year. And I agree with you. But the thing is that this is a constant problem that we've seen for the last 2 months that this map has been in the game, in tier 2, in regular Face It pugs. It seems to be an issue that every single level is struggling with. I want to open the door to you guys. Do you think that there's a solution that maybe we just haven't discovered yet? Maybe you just aren't enjoying Train as a whole. Either way, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and also let me know what you think about this video. That's going to be it for me. If you enjoyed it and you watched all the way to here, I'd really appreciate if you guys subscribed. I plan on doing demo reviews of a lot of the new roster changes, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And that's all I have for you today. I'll see you guys later.